Good evening. Good evening. Welcome to the Trails Committee meeting on September 25th. I'm calling the meeting to order at 7:32. We'll do a roll call. Let me know that you're here when I call your name. Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
Will Warren is on mute,
Yes, Will Warren.
Tom McCoolier,
Yes.
Kat McKee. Yes, thank you all. So first order of business is we're not going to take up the minutes from the last two meetings. I think is that where we're at with minutes, because I just updated a bunch of them with the town. And it looks like we have sorry, I was on the page, now I'm not on the page. I just want to put it on the record so we are going to get straight. Yeah, so we were approved through the 14th, so we have the 18th, the 28th and the 15th that we should approve at the next meeting. So
Okay.
we'll do that then. Okay, so since last meeting, we have Tom McCoolier and I met last Thursday, as we had discussed at the last meeting. We met to distribute 2 benches, so we're happy to report.
No, 3. Didn't we do 3? We did 3.
Oh, look at us being so productive. We did 1, 2, 3. We did. And we'll show you where we put them as we talked about it. So let me bring the pictures up. I have to go back and use the drill bit to get them anchored to the ground. But all right, let me share. Okay, let me know when you can see a bench.
No.
Can you
What a
see?
lovely location. Isn't that a lovely
Right?
location?
So this is on the Bay Circuit Trail. This is off of Clemens and Nichols. And
Nice.
there's this perfect opening. It actually had kind of a log that people were using for this purpose. So we were able to put this down and look at the view. It's beautiful. Yep.
Amazing.
Yeah, another view. This is a couple people, the cart. Da, 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 da. Okay, so this is a second spot. This is along the Sudbury Reservoir Trail off of Route 30, where Framingham and Route 30 meet at that triangle, where we have a kiosk, a map kiosk right there, and people can park for fishing and stuff. So this is kind of as you walk along, it's not far from the beginning entrance of that trail. So we were joking that maybe we play find the bench, and whoever finds we put the picture up and they have to find the location and have a little game, make a game of it to let folks know that we've installed them.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a nice little section. And then the other bench this is Deerfoot. So we talk about off of Deerfoot. There's these 2 little things. This location overlooks the water, so as the sun is setting, you can get a really nice view. This is the view from the bench. So that's where we kind of stuck it, and we can easily, either if we can't anchor it in, we can chain it to the post. This is the one that I'm going to reach out to MWA and say, hey, can we put this here? Just to make sure that they're comfortable with that. And hopefully, if it does cause any mowing problems, the Trails Committee can volunteer to be the weed whacker around these, just in case. So yeah, so that's 3 installed. That's 4 total installed, right? Because we have 9/11. So that means, and we have 188. We have 2 more, right? We have 2 more benches. The ADA bench, and then we bought another bench that had arms. It wasn't ADA necessarily, but it could be it could still go along that trail if we wanted it to. So I think those are the last 2. And then what we were going to do with that extra space is start to transition the wood pile into the shed. So and offer to pay for seed for the cemetery to make that spot, seed that spot so that the grass will grow in where the wood had been. So at the this meeting, we should go ahead and schedule maybe a work party to drop off the 2 additional benches and drop the wood, relocate it back into the into the shed. We want to do that definitely before winter, before snow falls, because that will just make it all messy. And the tarp is starting to break down from wear and tear of the sun and just the whipping of the wind and the sharp corners of the wood. So, but yeah, what do you guys think about the bench?
Lovely.
Sounds
It is.
good.
Wonderful.
I'm very excited. So we'll have an announcement once we get approval for this one. And I'll call that a success. Okay. Oh, nope, not that picture. Okay, let me stop sharing now. Where's that little thing up there? Okay. All right, so next up, we want to talk about really most of this meeting, we want to talk about signage for the Peninsula Trail. And phase 1. And then phase 2, basically we are just ready to put together the next steps. I have to connect with Melanie and I have to connect with Beal still, but that's very close to being connected. I'll do that this evening and we'll have an update at the next meeting. But for now, let's talk about signage. And I think I've been doing some thinking, so I'm going to bring up something that we brought up before, that some brainstorming that we did a while ago. We did it in 2024. Let me just find out where I am. Okay, there it is. Yep. I think what will also be helpful is if we have a map. Okay, there we go. Sure. Okay.
Hmm.
Are you guys seeing signage brainstorm? Is that a yes? I didn't see
Yes.
it. Okay, great. Okay, so I'll start with an image, moving this over. So this is not, these are just placeholders for things. So this is what we're looking to sign, right? This section of trail here.
Mhm.
And our initial budget was for signage itself was under 15,000. And then we have installation, which is more. And we have the remaining fund grants, remaining grant, and then whatever overage we have, we can use CPA funds that have been set aside for that, phase 1. And so initially, when we were doing our initial planning, and what we had proposed is we would put 4 or 5 signs up. It would be a kiosk and some interpretive signs along the way, right? So now what we want to do in this meeting, I want to get our thoughts and confirm where our locations will be roughly, and the number of signs that we want to do. We may have a little extra money to, be creative in one way or another. But let's start with just the basics and kind of like, again, we don't want to do over signage, right? We want to tell a story. And we can talk about the topics that we had written into our CPA application, so we follow suit there, but really talk about how we tell that story, and imagine yourselves walking along the trail as you're reading what we're going to be sharing, and how does it make sense logically that it's in that order? Does it, the content is kind of defined in great in a broad parameter because we've written that into the application. So we have the topics kind of outlined, but it's the details. We won't hash out all the details tonight, but we can kind of talk about what it looks like, right? Does that make sense to everybody?
Mhm.
Okay. So when I think of the Peninsula Trail, just so you know, for reference point, how I'm thinking about it. So when I talk about start and end, you know what I mean, and then we can all kind of talk on the same level. So I think of it's Route 30 and Central Street. I usually say that's the start. That's just where I've started my brain a long time ago. So that's where I call the start. And the end is on the other side. So this is actually the west side, right? The west terminus or starting point, and then the east side because heading east, and that's on the Framingham side, right? So that's kind of how I think about it, and how I'm going to talk about this meeting is we're going to go in the direction of from Central Street, Route 30, all the way to the east side. So we can kind of think about it like that. And I think one of the
Mhm.
reasons I think of it like that is because parking is here, right? Because it's going to be hard for people to start over here. So in our signage, we'll kind of think like that. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Great. So here, what we're looking at is that little section, and actually it might be helpful. Let me just see if I can pull up a real map. Okay. So you guys see the map here?
Mm-hmm.
Great. And I'm going to go to satellite view. Is that the new construction?
Yeah, that's a big house right there.
Oh, wow. Like, I'm surprised Google Earth already has that in there. Interesting. Anyway, okay. So down here, right, we have some parking. And I think if I drop the little person down there, they'll let me see what it looks like.
You should be able to. Yep, there
Yeah,
you go.
there we go. Okay, right. So in here, we have some parking, right? So people park. It doesn't look like they park at all, but you can park.
Yeah, you go up a little bit by the fence. You can't see
Yeah,
it.
up in here,
That's
right.
there's like 3 cars maybe.
Oh, look, the fence is open in this picture. Ironic. Anyway, so my question is, where do we want to put the signage here, right? I'm not really that concerned about it being visible from the intersection, versus keeping it a little bit maybe further back to protect it from the intersection. And we don't really want to put it somewhere that's going to take a parking spot because it's so limited. I know we have parking up further up and we haven't resolved the gate issue, but let's, and I do think it makes sense to have the kiosk out here versus closer to the other parking. What do you guys think?
Let's talk about I was thinking about having the kiosk and the signage by the other parking lot.
Yeah, but by the top parking.
Yes, because once that opens up, I don't think people, this is like an overflow area for car. Once, let's just say that the fence is open and we have the other fence and that's all fine.
Yeah.
I think people are going to go all the way up and park.
Ideally, yes, and that's the gateway question, right?
Right.
Whether that gate will be open, because our proposal to MWA and DCR will be, hey, can we keep this gate open since the other gate is going
Is
to
locked.
close?
And I thought the kiosk and the signage would be up there.
Okay.
Because
So
if you put it down below, it's down the hill a little bit from the handicap parking, so you exclude some
actually,
people.
that's a really good point. The handicap, that's actually the point, period. Right?
So
You can't have it down here because of the handicap parking, period.
it will
So
be on the right side, the parking, right side?
it's on
It's
the
on
right
both
side. Yeah.
sides. Yeah, and I
No,
just,
both sides, but because if there is a hydrant there on the left side.
oh, wait, you mean on this one?
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, well, I don't ever remember seeing that, but yeah, people park on both sides. They do.
They do, but it's not shown, but right before that sign that you see straight ahead on the
Yeah.
right-hand side of that is people can park
Yeah, in
perpendicular
here,
to the
it
road.
kind of gives, there's like the trees that open up and you can put a few cars
Yeah.
there. So the parking, here are some pictures of what the parking looks like up above, but you bring up a good point. That is the only point we need, is that the signage has to go up here.
Yeah.
Because otherwise the handicap, if you are driving, you would have to stop, look, and drive up here. So that's not really going to work. So, So, and actually, if I remember correctly, and you can kind of see from some of these pictures, there is space next to the parking that we can put the
Yeah,
sign
it
in.
is, yeah, there's creativity for where we can put that. I agree.
Yeah. So we don't need to finalize that exact location, but we do, but the question, the gate does need to be open if possible. If for some reason they don't allow that gate to be open,
I'm still okay by putting it up there because I think at the end game, that gate gotta be open, maybe not right away. But even
they
if
don't allow the
people,
gate open, yeah, we lose this parking.
right, use all that handicap stuff.
And I don't think it's wise to have it be opened and closed every day. I think that might be
Yeah,
too
that's,
much maintenance for people, even if they're there. And I mean, unless they're literally there. But then we
I
have the
think the
weekend.
concern, if I remember correctly, was that people would park up there off the road so they can't see that people are up there at night.
Right.
Because
And
you are off the road there, but
I think if we could volunteer to buy a camera for surveillance.
yeah, you could do a trail cam.
Real cam, yeah.
Yeah, we're doing that on another property. For
Yeah.
security. I mean, to understand what's going on.
But
And if
either
it,
way, I like it up there because it's off from the road.
yeah, okay.
I think because you got a lot of people parking down there anyways, well, in the hunting season, and I just fear that someone might back into it.
Yeah. No, that's a really good point, Tom. That's actually a really great point. So we're gonna remember that. And it will probably take up some parking spot down there. That's not good.
Right, right. So even at somewhere, yeah, we could walk here and
Yeah.
meet there and decide the exact location, but I think up there would be good.
Good. Okay, great. And on a side note, we've got to think about if this is accessible in the winter, having this plowed. I don't know
It's
how
always plowed because they have to get to the pumping station.
well the road maybe, but will they do a couple
Oh,
spots for us?
oh,
Please?
yeah.
Yeah, you know.
I think I don't know who plows it. I'm gonna assume the town does, but
Yeah,
because they
I'm
plow
not sure.
all the way up to the cell tower, so um, I know they plow it because
Yeah.
I've been there in the winter.
Okay.
If they do plow, is there still the possibility for people to go winter? What do you call the skiing that's
Cross
not
country
down
ski.
cross country? Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe not.
On the
It
side of
might
the road, but that,
maybe
yeah,
yeah. It's probably gonna be hard, Will, but we'll see. I'll definitely test it out if I can ever get on skis again. Okay. So yeah, that's good. So we've settled that. So we'll put the kiosk, and I'm gonna move this to represent kind of a little bit further up here like this.
perfect.
Okay, great.
Now,
we'll
while we're there, do we want to talk about the bench quickly? Should we put a bench by that signage?
No, well, I think not for this reason. Because I've thought a little bit about this, but let's hear everyone out. I don't really want people sitting at the bench. Like having a bench when you start a trail, I think if you had like I think we could better use our bench for the purposes of mobility. If you're walking along a trail, they talk about, and I was just trying to look this up before I started the meeting, if someone wants to while we're on talking, is how far on a trail, if it's an accessible trail, should you have rest stops for people with mobility issues, for example?
Yeah, good
There's a
point, good
certain
point.
amount of
Never
feet,
mind. Yeah,
right?
no, that's a
And
good
so,
point. Good
but I
point.
like your thinking, Tom, if you think about the Breakneck Hill, they have a little flat bench without arms, it's just a flat bench. We could do
Mm,
something like that, in the future. Maybe inclusive if we have this extra money and can't use any of our phase 1 towards phase 2 money, then, maybe we can add, a bench. We'd have to get
yeah,
approval.
or it could be a Boy Scout, Girl Scout project or something.
Exactly. So that's what I was thinking. So I was thinking a bench, let them get walking or going along the trail, and then we'll kind of pick a spot that makes sense. Again, there aren't any viewpoints along here. The buffer is too long. You can't see the water. So really this will be just a nice little bench off to the side so that it's not going to get plowed. And so people can just take a little sit down and, you know, listen to the birds or however they want to rest, right? So somewhere along in here.
Mhm.
And we could have it, I mean, do you think it should be near a sign, an interpretive sign? Or, you know, do you think of the two things together or do you care?
I don't care.
Yeah, I think what I would like to be careful about is that we're not cluttering the trail too much with things that we lost Will. That you know, we lose nature in that, and we don't want sign pollution. So if someone can help me check on the attendees, because I think Will's going to come back as an attendee and we'll have to promote him again. So if you can help me keep an eye on that attendee list, that'd be helpful. Okay, so for signage, and I think now it does, like, let's talk broad thoughts on what the signage is so we can kind of start to think where it should go. So a few of the themes, let me just pull up our application. I had all this up, but now I don't. All right, give me just a second. I had to close all of my I had too many PDFs open. I was breaking something. Okay, got it. Where'd you go? Oh, okay, great. Perfect. Okay, so what we were talking about for signage, okay, so display permitted uses, restricted activities, maps, historical and educational information. So interpretive signs, historical markers will be added at key locations. So we've got history, and we've already talked a little bit about what the history will be. We'll reframe it again. And then, okay, so it's create more awareness around managing watersheds, reservoirs, wildlife, forest management. Historical, building of the dam. Yep. Okay. And then indigenous people. We didn't put but that's part of history, and that's why we had the grant extension. Okay, and so that means so the themes are going to be like indigenous people who was there before us, the building of the dam, you know, the acquisition of land, how that went down, managing watersheds, which include, and wildlife, right? And the forest management will be potentially in the form of like how DCR or MWA manages the land. Maybe we talk about the hunting a little bit to help population control. We can work with them on how they, you know, there might be a sentence or two we add to a sign. So it doesn't have to be a full sign dedicated to all of that. Hey, Will, welcome back. It won't have to be a sign dedicated to that. So let's talk kiosk number 1 being the one at Central Street and Route 30. You know, I can bring up our little brainstorm. Give me a second. I cannot find it.
That kiosk is not going to be visible from Route 30, is it?
Say again?
It's not going to be visible from Route 30, is it?
No.
Okay.
Okay, great. All right, so what we had talked about for the map and the kiosk is the larger map, right? So we want a map of the area, a map of the trail, so they have that. And we talked potentially about the little trail that they're on and how it fits into the bigger framework, and figuring out how we want to do that. So whether we include the bigger framework on the map itself or in a QR code, TBD, let's let that detail be a future detail. But as far as content, so this is our first, people are first coming on the trail. We need to say there's something about accessibility, right? Because that's what is the first accessible trail in Southborough. So accessibility has to be noted, and
Mhm.
just say a sentence or two about that. And then if we are including any enhancements along the trail, signage wise, that helps in, accessibility, then we should note that. Like that would be, we have QR codes, we're linking to audio files, these types of things that will help whatever it is.
And we're
So we
going
can-
to describe the trail conditions for the first, whatever mile it is
Thank you.
that is fully accessible for so far.
Yeah, that's smart. Trail conditions, so that someone knows what to expect. I really like that, Will. Thank you.
And also the hunting season, how to avoid that.
Smart people. That's very good. Yeah. And we should have a little section on this kiosk that we, like not a cork board, but something that we can rotate current signs out. So it will always be a blank corner that we
Mhm.
can post signs, current signs, upcoming events, whatever it is. And we can talk to the sign people about how folks usually handle that.
Right. Now, are we going to make it so that people who park cannot be locked in?
Yeah, so Will, that's part of the gate conversation, and yes, right. So if
Well,
they,
if
what we're hoping to do is keep that front gate open all the way, so no one can get locked in or out.
yeah, I would just say that we might somewhere want to include information. If you get locked in, call the Southborough Police or something. Don't call the 911 number, but call the normal
Yeah.
number.
Let's, so we'll put about gate locking as a question mark, depending on how the outcome of that conversation goes. Because it might not be necessary if we don't have the gate closed, then, we can save that space for other stuff.
Mhm.
So we've got the standard regulatory stuff, like, don't do this, you can do this. These are the appropriate uses and the inappropriate uses. So that has to go on it. We also have to have, this doesn't have to be part of the panels, but we do have to have a CPA acknowledgement sign. This trail was, or this sign or this project was sponsored by CPA funds. And I think we should also acknowledge Mass Trails Grant
Mhm.
in that. So some little, bronze sign, and again, it can be, it doesn't have to be part of the panel, but it can just be a sign that we either put on the side of the, we'll have to find a place. Maybe it has its own post or something, but nothing elaborate, but just big enough and acknowledging that who's funding it. So we
Are we
do.
going to mention the name of the Southborough Trails Committee?
No, it's going to be anonymous. No, of course we're big letters. No, of course. Yeah, STC will be there. That's a
Okay.
good point, how we incorporate that into the signage. And then, so yeah, so I think, do you guys envision the kiosk? Like, I don't know. I mean, I think the kiosk could help, the storytelling, right? We don't have to include the story on the kiosk, but we can say, as you walk this trail, you will find interpretive signage that's going to talk about these 3 topics, right? So something like that. I don't know how you're feeling about it.
No, I think that's great.
Mhm.
Tell them what you're going to tell them.
Not quite tell them, but like, really get them thinking
Well, this
about,
is
I'm going to
right,
learn about this
exactly.
stuff along the way.
Right.
Right.
That's tell them what you're going to tell them, and then along the way you tell them what you tell them. It's a speaking thing, right?
Yeah. Okay. So there'll be a little bit about that, but not a ton. And yeah, aside from map, some, the QR codes, like, again, wherever we want to elaborate and get more into detail, we can do that through a website, and we can talk a little bit more about how that will be organized in more detail in another time. But so I kind of see keeping it simple, the map, the story, the regulatory, with all of that, I think we're going to have, pretty good, a filled kiosk in that way. Okay, so that's number one, and that again is going to be, where do we have it? Here, yeah. So kiosk number one, and so then you walk along, and we've got to decide. So initially we had talked about 4 signs, like 4 interpretive signs that would be strategically placed along this route. And we can also include the route as being the boardwalk and bridge, right? So that's the boardwalk area is of particular note, because even though that is a kind of it's not a fabulous wetland area, it's still wetlands. So we could talk about wetlands and that type of stuff, or incorporate that, or we could talk about it would be nice, I don't know where we want that sign, but we have an opportunity, people are going to be walking through there if the boardwalk gets installed across the water, they'll see, we can talk about what might live there or in wetlands or
Mhm.
that kind of stuff. We could
About
talk about the double arch bridge,
Mhm.
which there's history there. I really want to highlight that bridge.
Yep.
That doesn't have to be a huge, like, interpretive sign. Some of these could be single post signs, smaller versions that, like, if you're just talking about the building of the bridge, then you have, like, you think a single post, along the Deerfoot Trail that overlooks the waterway, that overlooks the mansion, the Burnett House,
Yeah.
that size, it's kind of
Yeah.
smallish, something like that for the bridge.
Mhm.
So we could do something like that.
Yeah, that'd be
What do you
nice.
guys think?
So there'll be one there.
But if that little one for the bridge, I wouldn't consider that one of the 4, right? The 4 I'm thinking are the double posted pedestal signs that are, you walk up to it and it's, 4 foot wide and it's telling you a story about stuff, right? So it's not like just here's a bridge that was built in 1897 or whatever. It's more of a story, right? So those were the 4 big signs. So if we had a couple of individual posted signs, those can be add-ons. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't think they're going to be that costly. I do think we have an extra fund or $1 or $2 to spend in that way.
Did we talk about things you can't, telling people what they can't do on the trail, or?
Yeah, that's going to be on the kiosk. The regulatory pieces, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so no bites, no motor.
Yep.
Okay,
And, yeah, and actually, I didn't really say this, but we talked about the map, but we didn't really talk about the trails. We've got to talk about the trails, right? This is the Peninsula Trail, which is part of the Burroughs Loop. The Burroughs
Right.
Loop is a 33-mile loop, right? It's also part of the Aqueduct Trail. And it's going to intersect with the Bay Circuit Trail. So we need some verbiage around the trails. So there needs to be some space for that. So with all of that, I think the kiosk is full.
yeah, and we're gonna have the QR codes linking them to getting more information about the Burroughs Loop and all that.
Yeah, so we'll just have like a sentence or a few words just to give them an idea, right? Yeah. Okay, so the bridge can be a single post sign, not one of the 4. And I'm not sure, now that I'm talking it out, if you don't mind me talking in circles sometimes, I was thinking the second kiosk, and why I'm bringing that up now is because we might not need an interpretive sign over here if the second kiosk, well, actually kiosk, if we're thinking it's global information, it might not be a good place for anything in specific. So, so cancel that thought. We still need maybe some interpretive sign over here, but where do we want to put that second kiosk, right? Because this is kind of the end or the other side of the trail. We have to be really careful with MWA because it's their property and we can't be getting in all their business. And then if you think in the future, if we ever get a crosswalk, if we ever get parking, it will be nice. People can park and walk across and see see this, the information on the trail, about the trail. And I guess, let me just go back to a map so that we can,
I would put it so that it's in sight of the dam.
inside of the dam, let's see what that
So
means.
that, if someone wants to know, well, why is there, or what is this dam? When was it built? That kind of stuff.
All right, I had to orient myself, I got lost. Okay, so let's orient everybody. So this is where we were putting the
Mhm.
boardwalk. Can you see my cursor?
Mm-hmm.
Right, we parked over here and we walk across, right? So imagine that. So really all of this is off limits because this is all gets mowed and it's, right next to Boston Road, and people are going to be coming. Oh, wow, this picture is so old, which is really weird that they still have the structures here that have been now taken down. These are the old structures. Huh. It's interesting. Anyway, so people are going to coming down here, right, and walking through here to get to this little natural surface bridge trail, and then the boardwalk is here and the bridge is over here. So I was kind of wondering, how the natural surface trail starts here.
Mm-hmm.
Do we want to do a kiosk of any kind here?
You
And
could
kind
put one there.
You up?
You could put one there.
Yeah, like along the, right along the edge of the
Yep.
woods. So it's kind of out of the way. It's not going to bother MWRA mowers. And if this ever does become of, if we are ever able to park here, it can be the start of a trail. You can start here and walk across and all the way up to Clemens and Nichols and stuff. So
Mm-hmm.
what do you guys think? Does that make sense to have a second kiosk there?
It does make sense.
That's a good spot, yeah.
Great. And it would be pretty much mirroring the other side, whether you are here being different than the other one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I like that.
Yeah. All right, great. Okay, so second kiosk, we will put,
It'd be right
it's like somewhere,
right by almost where the somewhere right around there, I guess.
yeah, that structure.
Closer
Yeah,
to the road.
yeah, it's out there. It's somewhere in here.
Yeah.
Get that. Okay, perfect. So we'll put that there. Put the bench, we're going to do the bench somewhere in here. So
Yep.
then as you're walking, now we're back on the west side. Oh, how did this, I need to actually, hold on. I need to group these. Oh, it's not letting me. Hold on. So they don't move. Oh, and then I lost one because it went behind it, as it often does. I don't know why it does it. Okay. Number one. Okay, so we're walking along the trail, and if you remember, there's houses on the right. So we're not going to do anything until beyond the houses, right? The
Yep.
bench will be beyond the houses, and so will the first, any kind of signage. So I do think it makes sense, if you are in agreement, that we have some interpretive, this will be our first interpretive sign along this stretch, right? But we have the riser shaft is in here somewhere, right? I don't really want to be near that thing. It's just a distraction, right? And then right after the Hosmer riser shaft is the road starts to turn a little bit, and then it moves up to the pump station. So we have a limited place. So that might mean the bench gets put next to the sign or somewhere near the sign, because I think the sign should probably go before the riser shaft fencing
Yep.
area that we put in.
Is there
What do you
is
guys
there a place where we can put the kiosks so that there's a view of the water?
No, the kiosk, there's no view of the water from this side of the trail because the size of the buffer, and that's by design. MW, it was a road first. It was never intended to be a trail necessarily, but there's such a buffer, Will, that there's no view of the water and no chance of us getting a view of the water. So the best we
Okay.
can do is kind of stay away from the riser shaft fencing and do it maybe somewhere before that. And there's kind of that airstrip. If we look at this map from, yeah, here we go. This is a great view. I think, okay, so I think, okay, this is the airstrip. So we would put the bench and the signage somewhere in here, right? And I think the riser shaft, if it's not this clearing, then it's in here somewhere, right? It's
Mhm.
close to here. Yeah, and then the road, oh yeah, you can see it right there. That's the riser, that's where we fenced in. Okay.
Yep. Yep.
So I suggest we put it somewhere in here where it's just, it's secluded. You don't have to look at a fence, you know, you're still surrounded by trees. So somewhere in here, we put our first interpretive sign. That work?
Uh-huh.
This is
So,
a very old map, huh? The golf
yeah,
course is not even there.
yeah, I know, it's interesting. Sometimes they have new stuff, sometimes they have old stuff. So of our topics, this was where and we don't have to totally work this out, but I wanted to get your take on it, because if we're telling a story, if we're thinking about a story that we want to tell, I think the story is the history first, right? It's the, what is this place? You know, we wanted to highlight the building of the dam because there's some really great engineering feat there. We wanted to talk about the how the land came to be. I thought that was interesting, and I think the committee did also, about the eminent domain, about how that's how they claimed the land to make the water, to make the reservoir to be able to serve Boston. So a little bit about that. But how do we, the sequence is, I guess, my question, because if you think about it, and if we have 4 signs, I don't think we can I think we need to have 1 sign dedicated to people, 1 sign dedicated to the reservoir, maybe, is how we could think about it. I'm just spitballing. So the people being, and we could show a chronological timeline, like just to have a little timeline, like Native Americans, then it was colonial, you know, it settled, and then, you know, the time the dam was built, and you can kind of see a little timeline on that. But we talk about the Native Americans that were here, and whatever we can get for information from that, and then kind of like maybe we tell it in the form of a timeline or something. What do you guys think?
No, even if not the timelines, like I think you had that 3 separate, this is going to talk about, like you said, the people, the first one, the acquisition of the land, and then the one by the dam, it can talk about the construction.
Oh, on the other side, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
no. Instead of trying to put all topics in the one sign,
Okay.
I like that.
So
people mean the people who worked on the dam?
that's a really good question, because we talked about wanting to highlight some of that too, Sati, and we have some history on that. So yeah, I think so. I think that maybe that's the way to even think about it, is the people who lived here before the settling. Then we've got the settlers, right? Then we have the people who built the dam. But I guess it's kind of hard it's hard for me to think about it like that just right yet, because we haven't told the whole story yet. We haven't told about the building of the dam. You can't talk about the people until you talk about the building of the dam. So maybe the people of the building of the dam gets merged into the dam, right?
Yep.
And we focus on, the history being the Native Americans, and then the settlers, and then eminent domain, and because I think it would make sense if the sign's kind of like, you learn one thing, you're left like with a cliffhanger, or whatever, then you go to your next sign, maybe it fills it in some transition, right? And I mean, it doesn't have to transition, but if it's kind of like it'd be nice if this becomes where we've done a history walk before, it becomes a kind of a self-guided history walk. Think of it like that, right? So how do you tell that story along the walk. And maybe the signs don't have to transition. Maybe I'm complicating it by saying that, but I'm just throwing out these ideas of how do we make this work?
I personally don't like the transition. I think each kiosk should talk about its own,
Standalone.
the topic of that kiosk, and you go to another one because you're in the area.
Okay.
I mean, I've read, like I said, in different places in the United States, you kind of like read this thing and it tells you one thing, then you go to like to the other end, you talk about the construction of the dam because you're looking at it.
Okay.
Where you don't see the water views that you can talk about the people and stuff because there's no people there.
Yep.
But you can talk about the history of the land. That's
Yeah.
that's just my 2 cents. I'm not seeing, I think we're overcomplicating by trying to have a transition to the next one because it's
Yeah, I think you're right. Because that's where I'm getting stuck, is not having a really good answer for that. So I think the standalone thing makes sense. It doesn't have to transition. I mean, there's going to be relationships, but it doesn't have to be oh, I have to get to the other one to finish the story, right?
right.
It's going to be standalone knowledge dump, boom, go next. Okay. So we'll put sign number 1 here and do history. Oh, I can't see you. I'm just going to put people focused first. Okay. So that's where we think we're going to put that stuff.
Mhm.
And so then we walk and we see the riser shaft. And again, like, I don't want to get into the infrastructure of all of this stuff, even though people are going to be very interested in it. It's not our story to tell, and I'm not publicizing it. Like, we've talked about security issues before with a water managing, a resource that's a backup water supply. And, we can talk about the building of the dam and its purpose, but I don't want to get involved with, and we have to have MWA obviously approve.
Agreed. Yeah, that's
We're not going to talk about where the tunnels go and how you get to them.
no.
So we have the riser shaft, then we have the pumping station. Now there's nothing really to see. Now remember, if you recall, I forget if it was just who was with us when we did the walk with the ADA consultant, but there's a hill right around here. It starts the incline where the trail has to stop accessibility because the incline, the slope is too great for us to work with. It's no longer accessible. But there is up here kind of a tiny, like a view. You can see this little pond area, and there's sometimes otters in there or other wildlife. And that's where you really get kind of your first clear view. Well, I don't say it's clear, you have trees in the way. You get a view of the reservoir. You get a view of this little water, and then further out the reservoir. So it is kind of a nice view and we did talk about potentially putting a little sign down here of the view. So if someone were in a wheelchair, they can't get to the view, but we bring the view to them, right? So I don't know if we want to do anything like that, or if we, at this point, like putting a sign here we were thinking about we said we could put a bench here too, as a kind of a rest point before if those who are walking but have mobility issues needed to take a pause before they go up, that might be a place they could rest. So I don't know what we want to do, because up here at the pumping station, nothing's happening because it's not a pretty site, right? I can switch us back over here. This is the pumping station. So there's really nothing to see there. And then the road goes along and then it turns here, right? And you can't see here, but this
It
is,
follows that power line that
yeah. This power line?
yeah, well, yes. It kind of like follows right up there. Yep.
What about it?
That's where the trail goes.
I think the power lines go here and the trail, do you see this little road?
Yeah, it goes in a little bit. Yep.
Yeah, I think so. But, so this, go ahead.
No, you're right. I was talking more by the pumping station is where you have both together.
Yeah.
If you look to the left, you can see across the reservoir to East Main.
Yes. Well, so that's a good point. Like, this is where we could put a 1-post sign that says East Main used to be here, right? That's where the road was.
Yeah.
You remember during the history walk? I think that's a historical, like a nice to see, nice to understand. Oh, this is where the road went. They had to take it all down. Do you guys
No, I like it.
care about the road?
Yep. I think it's a good reference point.
And it can just be a little sign, nothing big, but just the road was here or whatever. Maybe there's an old picture of what it looked like. Good luck to us. Maybe DCR has an old picture of it. Maybe no picture, just words. We'll just see. East Main. Okay. So as the road turns now, right up here, this is where in here past this stuff, there is this is what I was talking about to you, Tom, the other day about a potential for a bench to go here, because this area right here is a marshy, wet area where birds and wildlife love to congregate, right? It's really a perfect place. It's not a wonderful view. You're not going to see like eagles land. I mean, I don't know, you might see an eagle going there, but it's not a waterway necessarily, but it's also, it could be a wildlife viewing spot. Okay. So two things could go here. One, we could put a bench on the other side so people could stop, look, and sit and watch some wildlife. We could also put an interpretive sign up here. So it's about time for another sign. This sign could be focused on wildlife, wetlands, or what do we call it? Watershed. The importance of watershed, right? So what do you guys think about sign number 2 kind of focus on that kind of stuff?
I like it.
What keeps that area wet?
The earth, it's just this natural wet spot. I mean, no one's doing it.
I think it's the hill and stuff on the side of it. If you look at the terrain.
I'm not gonna get. I don't know how to
think
answer
there's
that
a
question. Why are
stream.
you asking that question?
I think there's some type of stream or a spring.
Oh,
There.
okay. I don't
It
know.
could be.
Okay, so sign number 2 is gonna go here. I can find the number 2, and it's gonna be wetland. What did I call it? We're in a watershed. Thank you. Okay, great. So that's kind of go. And then I'm gonna put potential. Oh, actually, if we're only gonna, well, yeah. Yeah, because if even though we might not have a bench, some of those benches without backs, that might be a good idea. So bench, I'm gonna put potential bench number 2. I'll put it with a question.
Do we
Yeah.
want to list on each of these kiosks like wildlife and plants and stuff like that?
On the kiosk or some of the signs will definitely, some of the signs we could do that with Will. And we'd even talked about not to get too fancy, but if we've got money to spend a few dollars extra, we talked about tactile signs, like a sign for kids, where you can pull out panels so you can feel what maybe a beaver would feel like, beaver fur, or you pull out a panel and you see some footprints that are in clay because that's what a beaver or a otter's footprint looks like. The signs could have some sliding things, or so it could be something fun for kids that would be engaging for a younger group, or even the tactile being for those who are sensory need have sensory needs, that these types of signs might be better off for. That type of thing we could think about doing. Did you ask for another reason, Will, or was there anything you wanted to add there?
No, I just thought that one time we were talking about more about listing wildlife and native species and things that people might see along the route.
We definitely talked about that. So, and we have 2 signs to go. So that's one of the topics that we'll put on. So sign number 2, we were going to put, wetland watershed. Okay. Okay. So then we're 2 signs down. And so now we're walking along, and this section is just like between, it's very wooded, very quiet. So, so we have a choice to make as far as where we put another sign. So as we've got this long space in here, what we need to consider is like a lot of this that's along the waterway. Well, actually,
No, it is along the half that part. You can see the water.
you can as you get closer, you can start to
Yeah.
see the water more, right? So I'm
Yep.
just thinking out loud, because this is where we can start talking about the construction, right? Because they're going to see this beautiful dam out here. So maybe it makes sense for the, construction more focused on building of the dam to be where you can see the gatehouse and you can actually see the structure. So as they're reading, they see some pictures, but they can actually see the thing that we're talking about. That might be a good
No, I like
spot.
that. That's a great spot for that. I like that a lot.
So we're talking about kiosk number 2.
Sign
Three.
number 3. Yeah, the kiosks will only be at the ends. And
Okay,
when we
sign
say
number 3 is
kiosk
great.
in this context, we mean it's an informational kiosk that has map plus information.
Sounds good.
Building dam.
Are we going to do anything on the other side of the dam?
Yes, we're
In terms
getting there. I wanted to see if we had any pictures. Okay, so see, oh wow. Yeah, this is a neat picture. You see so this is the gatehouse. And so what I'm thinking is somewhere we'd have to pick a spot, because if you remember, as you walk along here, the closer you get, and there's a fence now, the
Mhm.
closer you get to the dam, the more you can see it, but it's still, there's a buffer. It's not perfectly clear, but I'm pretty sure we can find a location off the
Oh,
road
yeah. Yep.
along here where you can view that with it being out of the way
Yep.
as that sign. And Will, what was your question? You said, are we going to put them on the other side? Is this the other side that you're referring to?
No, I'm talking about the other side of the water there. You're on the south side.
Oh,
of
over
the water.
here?
Yeah, keep going up to the north there. Yeah, right in there.
Wait, I'm curious. Why does that look like that? Is this
It's
taken?
just because it's different. They mapped winter and summer. See, you got green leaves and you got brown
Oh
leaves.
yeah, the line. Wow. That's
Well,
wow.
that is far north. The
That's
snow
making
line.
my perfectionism
I think
uncomfortable.
that's an iceberg. No,
I know.
it's a
It's like,
glacier.
did you know that we had our own iceberg? We could talk about how we harvested ice. Right, Tom? You were just talking about that the other day.
I know.
Yeah, that's a question. Will, this is the Bay Circuit Trail. And no, we did not have initial plans to fund signage for that area out of this cycle.
So that's not part of the Burroughs Loop.
It is part of the Burroughs Loop Trail. It is, but our focus and when we initially talked was just this section here. But I think the furthest we would go, and it doesn't mean that we can't do something in the future, Will. So let's, definitely a good point. We did just add a bench on that side of the trail, which is roughly over here.
Yeah.
But we do need to watch wherever the border is for Marlboro. I don't know exactly where the
It's
boundary.
at the end-ish, but when you get back to what, Parmenter or whatever it is down there.
Yeah, but Parmenter's here. Marlboro is
Parmenter is
somewhere.
Framingham.
Maybe it's this red line.
Yeah, it probably is. Because there's the monkey lab, the Harvard stuff. It's the book library now, I think.
Yeah. What were you saying, Will?
I wasn't.
Oh, okay. So
So
yeah, so
I have one question. So the other sign that we were talking about, the East Main Street, it is second, first, or it just an independent sign?
the East Main Street, what number is that? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, good. Yeah, we don't have it on the sign here, but we would put it as because it's not gonna be
Interpretive.
a big sign, right? It'll just be a stick sign.
Okay, single post sign, right? Okay, I wrote that. Okay,
Yeah, let
that's
me call it single post, small sign number 1, and Main Street. Because wasn't there also something about a school? Remember when
yes. Yeah.
Yep.
he
Yep.
taught and you went looking for it, right, Sati?
Yeah.
You went looking for the foundation. Did you ever find it?
Yeah, it was there.
You did.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing. And that's not far. I mean, it's not the same location, but did I put East Main? Yeah.
Well, when you do the East Main stuff, you can always see point stuff there. The old one.
Okay, and the other side down the road. Okay, I like that point. I like that a lot because then it's just one sign, and then let's put schoolroom, schoolhouse, because I think that was the what he said.
What's the name? What's the name?
a schoolhouse, so it was gonna be the East Main Street and schoolhouse sign.
Okay, okay, okay. Yep,
And single post sign number 1, small sign.
yep.
Okay, great. So then, okay, so we got that. So then we have,
Third sign.
so this, yeah, so we have the third signs on this side is gonna be building of the dam, right? And we have the wetlands, and then we have history. What was the other? All right, so the wetlands and wildlife and forest management. So, yeah, because I'm feeling, I don't know. I'm feeling like this is already a lot. I know these bubbles make it seem horrendous. They're not that big, but you know, if you're thinking, so I don't know.
I think that should be enough. I mean, it's not a big trail though.
Yeah, it might be
Mm.
enough. I think you're right, Sati. And then what was this? This is not sign number 2. What am I meaning over here? I think what I
No, you
meant.
copied it here just for the.
Oh, I did. You're right. I think what I'd like to say over here is this, because it's going to be a small sign for the bridge.
Yeah.
So that's going to be number 2. And this is going to be for double arch bridge.
Yeah, that is another thing, right?
I'm just going to get rid of that. I really wish he was much smaller. Oh, 38. Okay. So, and that would go
Right there.
right there. Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think that is, I think that might conclude our exercise for, and then yeah. Because I think the second kiosk was an if. Let me just look at our, and it's okay if we change our quote. I'm just curious what our initial thinking was. We said 2, it's hard to look at this because it's done by panels. So this was wayfinding regulatory sign. That's upright double post. That's 2 double cantilevers, 2 single posts, 2 single posts. So I think the more expensive ones, this first one are 2 kiosks. And then a 2 double cantilevers and 2 single posts, and then 2, yeah, I don't know what I have. Oh, historical, I see. Because they separate, they quote the panels different than the pedestal. So this is 2, so this is 2 double post and 2 single posts, and then this is 2 single posts. All right, so yeah. So again, this can change a little bit, and I think where we had 24 hours, good. So we have design and production time, so their graphic designer can take the text stuff that we have and help us lay it out in a way that we don't have to become graphic designers overnight. Okay, so I did some, so I think this was a good exercise for tonight, and I think we're in really better shape knowing this. Our next step will be, and we have a framework for what we want to talk about, and I have some text that we have used from before. I've got some new text, and I think my next step is going to be this. I need to get in touch with a local council. Let me just pull it up so I'm not going to butcher the name. That's what I can't find, and I think I might have lost that information. But hold on. Oh yes. So there's a Nipmuc council that meets, well, according to this, that meets on even months, every other Saturday on even months, so twice a month. So October is an even month. So I think they might be meeting in October. Anyway, we needed to get in touch with them to confirm the history that we'd like to include and ask if they have, this is our idea. We'd like to get, 1, your confirmation that this historical information is correct, and 2, is there anything you'd like to share or have shared on your behalf that would be more representative. So instead of it just being our idea, we're asking them, is there any information you would like to have shared about the people who lived here and settled here first?
Mhm.
And now it's important that we do this. It's important that we get acknowledgement, but it's also been warned that the timing might be tricky. So we'll have to do our best. I'm also going to be reaching out to Michael Weishen of the Historical Society. He's got some information on his website looking for old pictures and things like that. So I think in the next week, those things will be happening. Like we'll be, and so our next meeting, I will in advance of our next meeting circulate proposed text. And I think what is going to happen is I don't want to get into wordsmithing the exact text on the sign before we talk to our graphic designers and know how, because they're going to tell us the guidelines. You can only have certain number of word, 180 words. That's what you get to work with. Pick your word. You know what I mean? We need some of those guidelines before we start to wordsmith it down. So when we come to the table, we're going to have more than we can use, and we will chop it up in the way that we need to. But we'll start with more and then we'll narrow it down. What gets cut can go on a web page of sorts, right? So that's will be our excess stuff. So we'll start big and then have our graphic people help us narrow it down and then go from there. Does that make sense to everybody? Any
Yeah,
other
they could
thoughts on
definitely
that?
wordsmith that.
Yeah, because I think the wordsmithing is going to take forever and it's going to be, so no one's committing to that in the next week or two, but we are committing to gathering what we think we want on the signs, pretty much these paragraphs, this is what we'd like to say. So we'll have as a next step that part of the process. Does that work for everybody?
Mhm.
Okay, great. Okay, so thank you very much for your time on this. Very helpful. And we're going to move with purpose and speed, because what we want to do is go ahead and get a requote for what we're looking for, and find an installation company also, because there's two different vendors, and start lining things up in that way and seeing what we need to do. Once we have a good idea, we need to bring it to MWA and say, this is our proposal. And we are probably gonna have to take pictures of where we're thinking of putting them and put a little, like someone stand there, like that they're assigned so that they can understand, or maybe even do a site visit with them and do a quick walk, make sure everything's in the up and up. And
So that's gonna be the same thing with the bench location, right? They're
Yep.
probably gonna wanna
yeah, so we can do all that at the same
do all
time.
that once. Yep.
Yep.
Nope, that makes sense.
Okay. Great.
And
Is there
part
a world where if we didn't have permission to put the benches yet, that we stored the benches outside of the
I think once we
shed?
put the wood in
Eh.
there, I think we can put the benches on top of the wood.
Yeah, okay.
Because it's not that high on the outside, so
Yeah.
I think
And
I think
worst case, we could bring the benches to my house and just store them here for a minute or two.
oh, I'll take a bench in my backyard too.
No, I didn't say you could use it in your backyard. No, I'm just, but no, we could store them in our homes if we had to get them out of there. I was thinking, because if the timing doesn't work out, that's good. We can do it
Yeah,
that
I
way.
think our next work session should be to bring that wood into the shed.
Yeah, because we're losing our planting season if we
Yeah,
are offering that for the cemetery, which I'm gonna write them tonight and let them know.
yeah.
Okay, so this is great. Next meeting, do you guys mind if we meet in like next week, the 2nd, and potentially the 9th, to see if we can continue to move things at a quick clip?
Next week.
that would be fine with me.
Yeah, that worked for me. Oh, no, not the 9th. I am away.
Okay, you're
So
away.
the 2nd I can do, the 9th I cannot.
Okay. Would you be opposed if we got most of our, we can choose what we do on the 9th, but we have the bid. I think we're gonna have some decisions to make about that as well. Would you be okay if we met without you, Tom?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay. How's the 2nd for Sati and Will? The 2nd is next
That's
Thursday.
fine.
That looks good so far.
Okay, good. And the
That would
9th
be
for
fine.
Sati and Will?
Yes,
Yes, okay, great.
9th is, let me check 9th. Hmm. That's a Thursday, right? Oh,
Yep.
no.
Yes.
I have a company meeting
Okay, 9th is
from,
out.
yeah, 9th is out.
Okay,
I mean, I'm gonna offer it out there. I'm
Oh,
leaving. I'm leaving on the 15th, and I won't be back until the 20th.
no, sorry. I think 9th is fine.
oh, the 9th is good. Okay, good.
Not 16th. 9th is fine.
9th is fine. Great. Okay, good. So we'll do those two. Thank you very much. I'll put notes out. And then just so you know, I am meeting with Freddie has proposed October 6th, 7th, or 8th to talk about CPC. So I asked about October 6th, which is a Monday. So this is just an informal, not a formal meeting before the CPC meeting. And
What does TPC stand for?
Community Preservation Committee, the ones that are partially funding this project. So
Is that when you say Freddie, is that Freddie Gillespie?
yes, correct. She's the administrator for the CPC. So that's why
Okay.
she's involved, because she understands it like in and out. I'm just trying to understand when the CPC was meeting. I think Lisa told me. October 9th. Oh, shoot. We can't meet on the 9th if they're meeting on the 9th. Darn it. How is the 8th for anybody? It's a Wednesday.
Wednesday doesn't work.
The 8th would be fine with me because my Rotary meeting is in the morning that day.
Uh-huh.
No, mine is, it's not possible.
Not possible. Okay,
No,
that's fine.
it-
I wonder, what about, how's Tuesday the 7th?
7th is fine.
Yeah?
I
Will?
think the 7th would be fine. Yes.
It's ambitious. I'm gonna hold it for the 7:30 on the 7th, because we're meeting with, okay, so I'm meeting with Recreation on the 6th to give them an update. I'm meeting with Freddie before that meeting to get CPC update, and then on the 9th we're meeting. That means I'm gonna have a meeting 3 nights. I'm not gonna work out that week, I guess. So I'll have to figure that out. So that's gonna be a busy week after work. But I think we need it because we're gonna get going on the bid needs to post. Okay. Good enough. Okay, so then let's see. What do we have? I think I can stop sharing now. Stop share. Okay, so we have an upcoming yoga on the trails this Saturday. So we've got some good registration going for that. And I think so we're gonna send out the reminders tomorrow. That's at 9 a.m. if anyone's listening.
Mhm.
And then the committee, so we talked about adding a session or two more for the yoga on the trails, which would be 150. We talked about doing that last meeting. Is that
Is that more
still
sessions for this year or next year?
2 more for this year?
Weather
Wow. You think
permitting.
it's going to be warm enough?
Actually, that's a good point, Will. Rather than extend it into, we always start yoga in the trails, or we have traditionally in June. I guess it's because it gets warm and people don't like cold, but what if that's complicated. Let's wait, maybe we do one more. Because I think she was proposing something in October. Why don't we do one more and not do the one in November?
November's probably going to be getting pretty cool.
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I agree.
it starts to get a little like stretchy. So let's do October. Say yes to that. That's 75. And I'll let her know that we're good. We're good for that. Okay, and then I think hold on. Sati, do you have our agenda up by any chance?
No, I
As
don't.
you're taking
I have it up.
Yeah, what else do we have after yoga on the trail?
We got we got the trail mowing and maintenance yoga bench locations, which we did. Committee business related to maintenance, trail about his website policies and adjourn.
Yeah, that's a standing one just in case. Okay. Okay, so I think we're good. Yeah, we just have to, I'm still trying to connect with DPW about the mowing contract and figuring out if they are going to bid again or if that is still under the current contract, because we need to understand if that's gonna come under our budget, because they're gonna go into budget cycle soon. So we want to be prepared to tell Travis what our needs might be, and figure that out. We'll do that next time though, and we'll do the
Do-
minutes next time as well.
Do we want to pick a
we-
date to do the wood into the
Yes,
shed?
thank you. Yep, let's do that. And let's not do it next week. Let's not do it next.
We,
Actually, we should, it's not it can't be the week of the 6th, and you're saying you're out the 13th. I might be out. And
no,
so
I'm out from the 8th to the Wednesday to that Monday. To the 13th.
to the
So
13th.
you can meet
Oh,
on the
okay.
6th.
So,
I'm thinking. So if we're meeting on the 2nd,
Okay, you tossed out the 6th as well.
say again?
You tossed out October 6th as another meeting besides the 2nd.
Oh, no, I think, oh, the 6th was for, I have to meet Freddie and then the rec commissions on
Oh,
the 6th.
okay.
Okay.
I
So
thought
that
was
week, the 6th, I can't do one more thing or I won't be
Okay.
able to survive it. Cause I've got a busy week, with work and stuff. Actually, when am I supposed to go? What about Saturday the 4th? Is anyone around? It would only take it's gonna take less than a couple hours.
is that this weekend?
No,
to do a meeting.
no, this is for the wood. What we're gonna do is relocate the wood from where it
Oh.
is on the grass, Will, to inside the shed so that we can either plant seed or have the cemetery folks plant seed where
Yeah,
where-
that would be fine.
the 4th.
Yeah.
So I'm biking. Yeah, I can do, I hate to say a weekend, but I should say yes. So I could do the 4th if we did something like at maybe not too early, like something not 10 or 11. How do you guys feel about that on a Saturday? No, that was tough.
Earlier. That's ruining the
Earliest,
day.
I think it is better to do it like
Earlier,
very early,
earlier better.
Okay, how early? You tell me how early.
8 o'clock.
Ah, on a Saturday after
Yes.
a 50-hour work week?
I mean,
Really?
I'm okay with 8:30.
How
Get
about
it done.
8:30? Could we squeeze in a half hour? Would that be all right, Sati?
Yes, okay.
Okay, no, for,
Fine.
all right,
Okay.
8:30 on the 4th. Oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, so we'll get our blood going early. Fine, that's a good idea. And then we can do something later for our own self. That's a good point. Okay, October 4th, 8:30, wood movement.
And then we'll go over your house and have breakfast.
Oh, maybe we could bring breakfast. We could
Uh,
have a party at the shed. We could potentially, if we knew by then that the bench, if MWA is okay with the bench and we wanted to like bring one over to the Peninsula Trail, we could potentially do both of those if we can get an answer by then. And then we can call our day done. Like we've done all the benches, we've done the wood, we don't need to do that anymore. So it might be a one and done. So I will try to get an answer for that.
Okay.
Great. Anything else? This has been a very productive meeting. I really appreciate it.
One question.
Yes, sir.
How did you get the color shade of your hat match your coat?
It was an accident and a pleasant surprise.
Is
I,
this-
they're very close.
Yeah. You know, I wanted to be matchy on this meeting. So I guess
Who makes your coat, by the way?
this coat, it's one of my favorite. It's Marmot. It's like a active wear.
Yeah, the thing
Actually-
the thing I really like about it is it has a pocket on the that you can put your phone in.
Yeah. Actually, it was probably a pocket when phones were smaller. Oh, it fits. You're right. It works. I was gonna say the pocket's not very big, but it works. Yeah, it's a little active jacket, and I wear it so much I've worn it out. I've got to get it mended because it has some holes. But anyway, we digress. Thank you all. Can someone make a motion to adjourn the meeting at 8:52 p.m.?
So moved.
Great. And someone want to second that?
I second.
Thank you. And all in favor, Will Warren,
I.
Tom McCoolier,
Aye.
Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
Kat McKee. Yes, great. Thank you all. And we'll see you next week. I'll send out invites for all the things that we just talked about. And
Yeah.
thank you very much for your flexibility and your help getting through these things. Doing good stuff.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.